Alright, so what is up, guys? It is the Seijoh here today, and today I'm coming at you with a review for episode 21 of Season 2 of Haikyuu. Let's do this. Alright, so this episode was pretty awesome, but before we get into the episode, I want to talk about my channel really quick. I have a plan to make a video probably about like a couple of days from now or sometime during the next week about a couple anime that I'm really looking forward to in the spring season. Since Haikyuu is coming to a close here in 4 episodes, we can expect, I think it's around like March 20-something, I think is going to be the last episode. So towards the end of March is the last episode of Haikyuu Season 2, which means I have nothing else to review, but I have quite a few shows that I want to watch, so stay tuned for those reviews, and I will talk about those in a video coming up soon. But the review today is going to be pretty awesome because this episode was very hype, and in fact, if this episode was, well, the last episode was really hype, and this delivered on the hype from last episode, and if this delivered on the hype of this episode, the very end, with the cliffhanger thing that they did, well, it's probably only going to get better from here, which is great to see, because we're currently at almost the end of the second set of the Seijoh game, the Karasuno versus Seijoh, so in my opinion, I think it's just going to end with whoever wins this, because essentially the second set still has to end, and then the third set has to, and then unless Karasuno just wins the second set, which they might, because they're apparently going to put Yamaguchi in. That's a spoiler for the end of the episode, but the idea behind this episode is basically showcasing the Mad Dog, as they call him, the Mad Dog, whatever, and how they incorporate him into the team, and just how that dynamic works. So the idea behind this player is that Seijoh going into this match probably is maybe about equal skill as Karasuno, maybe not. Probably can't win. Like it's probably gonna make a dice roll. Well, no, it's more of a dice roll whenever you put in the Mad Dog. But I'd say that Karasuno and Obajosai, like without any, without anything thrown into the mix, without any random variables thrown in, they're about the same strength, with little strengths that are higher than the others here and there. So it's going to be a lot closer, but in this case, I think that Seijoh really just wanted to shake up the game. They didn't want to keep going. If the game gets momentum one way and Karasuno has the momentum, you have to do something to change that around. So what's funny is that at the beginning of last episode, or at the end of last episode, we saw the Mad Dog do this crazy spike that was like sick, but apparently that just went out and they lost the set. So that was kind of funny because he like pushed this guy out of the way just to lose them the game. But essentially, in this entire episode, it's the idea that the Mad Dog is basically like a double-edged sword, so to speak. I mean, he is really good at doing things, but only about 50% of the time, probably. Now, towards the end of this episode, they were talking about how he takes a long time to rev up, so to speak, like kind of like start out and to get support from his teammates and stuff, so it takes him a while to get up to that point, so maybe he's better now, but throughout this episode, we see him making awesome plays, and then we just see him just completely messing up plays and not doing good ones at all. So it's the idea that it's high risk, high reward, I guess. Like, I mean, he can do these crazy things and possibly get points for them, but also he can't do them because he messes up a lot. At the end of the day, it actually works out pretty well for them because it keeps the game pretty close, and usually Seijoh is in the lead. For a while there, though, they put in Sugawara? Yeah, Hey, I'm just gonna call him Sugi, because I forget his name for some reason. Suga, is the other setter for Karasuno, obviously. But, I mean, if you've gotten this far, and you probably already know who that is, because you probably don't watch these reviews if you don't watch the show. If you do, then that's cool, but I don't know. Anyway, so this guy comes in, and originally it was like, okay, well, he's going to be the setter, and Kageyama's going to be switched out. But no, they switch out Tsukishima, because Tsukishima, in the rotation, whenever he's setting it, actually the team gets weaker, so they put Sugawara in. And essentially, he just kept throwing the ball to the Mad Dog, and seeing as if you serve the ball to somebody who is supposed to hit the ball, they have to receive it, and then they don't have the time to go and actually hit it. So, you know what I mean? Like, they just don't have the time to go and do that. So that worked for a while, but then Seijoh caught onto it and just had people cover him, so whenever the ball would come towards him, he'd just move out of the way. Somebody else would receive it for him. But essentially, it's a game of two teams that are very, very smart and really good teams, and throughout this episode, it's really interesting to see just the dynamic of the characters and how they have kind of adapted, and how good Oikawa is with working with new people, and how he's gonna sharpen the dog's fangs or whatever. Oikawa's my man. He's my boy. You know that already. But yeah, I don't know how this game's gonna go. I assume Karasuno's still gonna win. I'm rooting for them all the way. But Oikawa, man, and the Mad Dog, they're going ham, is what I'm saying. There's some sick animation in this episode, and Yamaguchi at the end literally looks like he wants to kill somebody, so that's pretty promising. Yamaguchi never looks like that, so I'm pretty hyped to see what that is all about. And at the 3 episodes ago, whenever Yamaguchi said he had to go to the bathroom, it was probably like 2 or 3, probably, yeah, that's a good estimate. Whenever he said, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom, like, apparently he did some inner soul searching or something, probably, because he doesn't look like he's a coward anymore, so I am really hyped to see how that goes, and this episode was fantastic in more ways than one. I very much enjoyed it, so until next time, I'm just going to say I'm going to end the review here. There's not a ton to talk about in this episode because it was just awesome. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch it. It's amazing, and the next episode is probably going to be even better, so not a lot to analyze, just the fact that the Mad Dog, we find out a little bit more about him as like how he plays the game and whatnot, but at the end of the day, great episode. And I'll be back in probably a few days to talk about some shows I'm looking forward to. Maybe make some gameplays again. It depends. See how it goes. But until next time, guys. Adios.